Welcome to New Crypto Coin. Big news this morning. Actually, this came out yesterday, but I want to show you guys. This is big news. Goldman Sachs to open a Bitcoin trading operation. So Goldman Sachs. Follow us on YouTube, New Crypto Coin. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment, guys. Also follow us on Twitter for the latest news and Instagram. Goldman Sachs to open a Bitcoin trading operation. Goldman Sachs will begin using its own money to trade with clients in a variety of contracts linked to the price of Bitcoin. Guys, think about this. In 2009, Bitcoin was started something drug dealers use. Now in 2018, the most famous investment bank in the world has decided that it's going to open a Bitcoin trading operation. If this doesn't legitimize Bitcoin in your mind and what they think of it and where they think it's going, I don't know what will, but they think this is going to be big, or they wouldn't be opening a Bitcoin trading operation. Most big banks have tried to stay far away from the scandal-tainted virtual currency Bitcoin. But Goldman Sachs, perhaps the most storied name in finance, it is the most storied name in finance, is bucking the risk and moving ahead with plans to set up what appears to be the first Bitcoin trading operation at a Wall Street bank. And this is in the New York Times. In a step that is likely to lend legitimacy to virtual currencies and create new concerns for Goldman, the bank is about to begin using its own money to trade with clients in a variety of contracts linked to the price of Bitcoin. The bank is going to use its own money. While Goldman will not initially be buying and selling actual Bitcoins, a team at the bank is looking at going in that direction if it can get regulatory approval and figure out how to deal with the additional risks associated with holding a virtual currency. Raina Yarrett, one of Goldman's executives overseeing the creation of the trading operation, said the bank was clear-eyed about what it was getting itself into. "I would not describe myself as a true believer who wakes up thinking Bitcoin will take over the world," Mr. Garrett said. "For almost every person involved, there has always been personal skepticism brought to the table." Still, the suggestion that Goldman Sachs, among the most vaunted banks on Wall Street and a frequent target for criticism, would even consider trading Bitcoin would have been viewed as preposterous a few years ago, when Bitcoin was primarily known as a way to buy drugs online. Bitcoin was created in 2009 by an anonymous figure going by the name Satoshi Nakamoto, who talked about replacing Wall Street banks, not giving them a new revenue line. Over the last 2 years, however, a growing number of hedge funds and other large investors around the world have expressed interest in virtual currencies. Tech companies like Square have begun offering Bitcoin services to their customers, and the commodity exchanges in Chicago started allowing customers to trade Bitcoin futures contracts in December. But until now, regulated financial institutions have steered clear of Bitcoin, with some going as far to shut down the accounts of customers who traded Bitcoin. Jamie Dimon, the chief executive of JP Chase, famously called it a fraud, and many other bank chief executives have said Bitcoin is nothing more than a speculative bubble. Mr. Yarrett said Goldman had concluded that Bitcoin is not a fraud. Listen to this sentence right here. Mr. Yarrett said Goldman has concluded that Bitcoin is not a fraud, does not have the characteristics of a currency. Think about it. So Goldman has already researched Bitcoin through and through, up and down. They've determined that it's not a fraud and does not have the characteristics of a currency. So what is it then? But a number of clients wanted to hold it as a valuable commodity similar to gold, given the limited quantity of Bitcoin that can ever be mined in a complex virtual system. It resonates with us when a client says, "I want to hold Bitcoin or Bitcoin futures because I think it's an alternative store of value," she said. Ms. Yarrett said the bank has received inquiries from hedge funds as well as endowments and foundations that receive virtual currency donations from newly minted Bitcoin millionaires and didn't know how to handle them. The ultimate decision to begin trading Bitcoin contracts went through Goldman Board of Directors. The step comes with plenty of uncertainties. Bitcoin prices are primarily set on unregulated exchanges in other countries where there are few measures in place to prevent market manipulation. Since the beginning of the year, the price of Bitcoin has plunged and recovered significantly as traders have faced uncertainty about how regulators would deal with the virtual currencies. "It is not a new risk that we don't understand," Ms. Yarrett said. "It is just a heightened risk that we need to be extra aware of here." Goldman has already been doing more than most banks in the area, clearing trades for customers who want to buy and sell Bitcoin futures on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and the Chicago Board Options Exchange. In the next few weeks, the exact start date has not been set. Goldman will begin using its own money to trade Bitcoin futures contracts on behalf of clients. It will also create its own more flexible version of a future known as a non-deliverable forward, which it will offer the clients. The bank's first digital asset trader, Justin Slint, had joined Goldman's 2 weeks ago to handle the day-to-day operations, a hiring that was first reported by Tearsheet. In his last job, Mr. Slint, 38, was an electronic trader at the hedge fund 7-8 Capital. In 2017, he left that job to trade virtual currencies on his own. He will initially be placed on Goldman's foreign currency desk because Bitcoin trading has the most similar movements to emerging market currencies, Ms. Yeh said. Mr. Slint is looking at trading actual Bitcoin or physical Bitcoin, as it is somewhat ironically called, if the bank can secure regulatory approval from the Federal Reserve and New York authorities. Think about this. So if they plan on beginning trading in the next few weeks, they probably already have regulatory approval from the Federal Reserve and New York authorities. This is just a heads up to their people to let them know, hey, get in, we're about to get started. The firm has also found a way to confidently hold Bitcoin for customers without it being stolen by hackers, as has happened in many Bitcoin exchanges. Mr. Slint and Ms. Yeh said the current options for holding Bitcoin for clients do not yet meet Wall Street standards. Goldman is known for pushing the envelope in trading of complicated products. The firm faced significant criticism after the financial crisis for its profitable trading of so-called synthetic derivatives tied to the subprime mortgage markets. Since the crisis, Goldman has made a big push to position itself as the most technologically sophisticated firm on Wall Street. Among other things, it has started an online lending service known as Marcus that has brought the firm into contact with retail customers for the first time. Watch this sentence. The virtual currency trading will only be available to big institutional investors. Mr. Slint said the Goldman sophistication was a big part of the reason he was open to the job, despite many opportunities in the virtual currency world. In terms of having a trusted institutional player, it has been something I have been looking for in my own crypto trading, but it didn't exist, he said. This is big news, guys. I mean, this is probably the biggest news I've seen for Bitcoin in 2018. I mean, Goldman Sachs is going to open a Bitcoin trading operation in a few weeks. They pretty much are saying they already have regulatory approval to do that from the New York and the New York Board of Financial Board and the Financial Federal Reserve. Bitcoin is not a fraud. It's been legitimately researched, and it doesn't have the characteristics of a currency. They're saying Bitcoin is a commodity. This article has so much knowledge in it. I would just say to you guys, go back and read this article. The link is right here. New York Times, Bitcoin, Goldman Sachs. But this is just a huge article, and I think this reveals so much as to where virtual currencies are going and where Bitcoin is headed. Guys, this is big news. This is amazing. Hold your Bitcoin. Hold your virtual currencies. They're going to be worth a lot more in the future. Guys, thank you for following New Crypto Coin. Thank you for supporting the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Like the channel. Comment below. Let me know what you think of the video. Guys, have a good one.